Xiongji City had become much more prosperous than it was 100 years ago. The incident where the indisputable first in transcendence of primal chaos realm, Great Saint Luo He, was punished to garrison Xiongji City for 10,000 eras had fermented over time. Even ordinary eternal true God families had heard of it. Small factions, major family branches, and eternal true God families willing to settle in Xiongji City were growing in number. Many trades between the two ancient countries were also carried out here. For one, it was a border city, holding a geographical advantage. Secondly, it was safe. The bigger the trade, the more important safety became. Slaughter and plunder were common occurrences in the land of origin. But with Great Saint Luo He stationed in the city, who would dare to cause trouble here? Moyu General. Leading several trusted aides, Moyu Kinyan arrived at the garrison mansion, where the guards at the entrance showed great respect. Nowadays, Moyu Kinyan wielded tremendous power in Xiongji City. More than 10 eras ago, after reaching eternal true God through the bloodline cultivation system, both Luo Feng and the primordial ancestor intended for him to manage some internal affairs of the city. The primordial ancestor was the deputy garrison commander. Under Luo Feng's command, the primordial ancestor represented him within the city. Moyu Kinyan held the position of inspection general, taking care of the many trifles within the city. Moyu General. Inside the garrison mansion, the servants showed great respect upon seeing Moyu Kinyan. Everyone knew he was the garrison's only direct disciple. Moyu Kinyan made his way unimpeded. He soon saw a figure sitting leisurely on a high building in the distance and immediately hurried over. Master. Moyu Kinyan arrived at the base of the pavilion and respectfully saluted. Come up. Luo Feng glanced at his disciple below and smiled. He was satisfied with this disciple he had taken in. Although Moyu Kinyan was less talented, under Morosa's meticulous teaching, he barely became a true god of void space after great difficulty. Even Morosa decided to let him switch to the easier bloodline cultivation system, and with focused resources, he had now also become an eternal true god. Being less talented was not important, character mattered more. As Luo Feng's only direct disciple in the land of origin, Moyu Kinyan had never misbehaved by using his master's fame. This was why even the primordial ancestor kept delegating authority to him. Moyu Kinyan soon ascended the pavilion and saw his master. His master appeared ordinary sitting there, but through Moyu Kinyan's law source sensing of heaven and earth, he could feel that many operating laws were subtly forming around his master as the center, synchronously operating. Kinyan, what brings you here? Luo Feng looked at his disciple with a smile. Disciple has spent a long time with Zhong Yanj of the Zhong family. We've discussed it, and I plan to visit her parents in the Zhong family. Afterward, we will also go together to Haiyang City to visit my father, Moyu Kinyan said respectfully. Oh, have you decided on that, Zhong Yanj? Luo Feng asked with a smile. Cultivators did not necessarily need a Taoist couple. Many lived their entire lives devoted solely to cultivation. A Taoist couple was more a companion of the spirit. Choosing a Taoist couple was a very cautious matter. Disciple has decided, Moyu Kinyan nodded. Luo Feng nodded. Although that Zhong Yanj is from the royal family, she is very distantly related to the Wine Chapter God King. As my direct disciple, it is sufficient for you to marry her. The Wine Chapter God King was a first realm godly king, a guest elder god king of the flame-wined ancient country, with considerable accumulations. His existence was nearly indistinguishable from that of the ancestral god of the Snow Realm. Innumerable were the offspring of the royal family, and although Zhong Yanj was an eternal true god, he was also a branch of the main lineage of the royal family. However, too many generations separated him from the godly kings, so his status was not particularly high. Luo Feng immediately summoned Morosa. Push. Morosa appeared in the pavilion in a flash. With a smiling face he asked, "Did you want to see me, master?" He also noticed Moyu Kinyan, who promptly paid his respects. The youngster Kinyan has taken a fancy to a girl from the Zhong family named Zhong Yanj and is preparing to visit her parents, Luo Feng said with a smile. I know, Morosa knew much more than Luo Feng. I've advised him that cultivation should be his focus. Affairs of the heart will only distract him, but this time he is set on that Zhong Yanj. Since it's a formal visit to the Zhong family, you'll go on my behalf, Luo Feng told him. After all, you two are of the primal chaos realm. Your presence on my behalf will be enough of an honor for the Zheng family. More than a dozen eras ago, after Moyu Qinyan became an eternal true god through the bloodline cultivation system, Morosa, with Luo Feng's consent, quickly publicized his strength, revealing that he had broken through to the primal chaos realm. Luo Feng, as the foremost in transcending the primal chaos realm, had a newly promoted primal chaos realm cultivator by his side. This was quite a common and inconspicuous matter. After Morosa publicized his primal chaos realm strength, Luo Feng also formally appointed Moyu Qinyan his direct disciple of Morosa. Naturally, Luo Feng understood the affection between Morosa and Moyu Qinyan. "All right, I will go on behalf of the master," Morosa immediately agreed. "Thank you, second master," Moyu Qinyan said as well. "You're my disciple after all." Morosa was still quite happy to do this. Suddenly, Luo Feng stretched out his hand and lightly tapped. A droplet of water flew from the tip of his finger and landed in the palm of Moyu Qinyan, turning into a water droplet mark that then vanished from sight. Moyu Qinyan was a bit puzzled. Luo Feng said, "You will be heading to the Zheng family, and afterwards, you'll go to Haiyang City. The journey is long, and if you encounter any dangers, this mark can be activated with a single thought to protect both of you thoroughly." Morosa's strength he could display was very limited, so Luo Feng still prepared a backup plan for his disciple. "Thank you, master," Moyu Qinyan expressed his gratitude. Looking at this scene, Morosa muttered to himself, "My master is simply transcendent of the primal chaos realm, whereas I am a true god king. But now, I can hardly see through his methods." "Go now," Luo Feng nodded. Moyu Qinyan then respectfully took his leave, while Morosa remained in the pavilion. "Master, shall I go alone?" Morosa looked at his master. "Remember, control the strength you show. Your limit is 5 to 6/10 of the strength of Marquis of Zhujiang," Luo Feng instructed through telepathy. "Understood," Morosa nodded in comprehension. "Then I will go and prepare to set out with Qinyan." Luo Feng nodded. A disciple's marriage was something Luo Feng preferred not to get too involved in. Love was also the most splendid journey of his disciple's life. The treasured place, infinite space. Spiritual beings were entrenched there, while Luo Feng was at a distance. Their spiritual wills collided, fought, and slaughtered. Luo Feng did not use the Yuan technique, but instead used some methods he had pondered over on his own, allowing his mind to be tainted by chaotic thoughts during the confrontation. That's about it, Luo Feng thought after a moment of struggle. All of his spiritual will condensed into a rolling star that came crashing down, directly crushing the vast spiritual power of the spiritual being. This crushing instantly obliterated more than 90%. Only a small amount of the purest spiritual power regathered. The 9th calamity has passed. A voice rang out in the consciousness of the tentacled creature, and an invisible force descended, nourishing its remaining spiritual power and rapidly restoring it to full strength. The tentacled creature was thrilled at this moment. It had finally passed through the 1,000 calamities, each one very difficult. This 9th calamity involved being obliterated by Luo Feng over 1,000 times until the infinite space finally recognized that its 9th calamity had passed. Luo Feng's expression changed slightly. How did it recover so quickly? "We have clashed over 1,000 times, but we will not meet again," the tentacled creature said to Luo Feng before disappearing into thin air. Luo Feng pondered, "Not meet again. It seems it's about to disappear." Some of the native creatures in this infinite space were spiritual beings. Though they occupied a fixed place and could be continuously destroyed, only a very few reward points could be obtained with each defeat. The more times they were repelled, the more the reward points diminished, like the recent repelling that awarded Luo Feng only 0.01 points. Generally, after repelling a spiritual being over 1,000 times, it might disappear, never to appear again. The area Emperor Ming had delineated for me contained 3 spiritual beings. In 100 eras' time, 2 of the spiritual beings have already disappeared. The remaining 1 awards so few reward points for each repelling that they are negligible. Luo Feng thought to himself, "It's time to leave." After all, the reward points generated by this place were minuscule, and their effect on honing his spiritual will was diminishing. During this 100 eras, I constantly honed myself combining the Yuan technique with spiritual contamination, although my spiritual will has also improved somewhat. Still, I can't rely on the Yuan technique alone to eradicate a spiritual being. These spiritual beings had an extremely strong vitality, just as it seemed that the spiritual power of the opponent had been annihilated in an instant. Remnants of spiritual will soon gathered again. No wonder it is said that, even with the spiritual will of the ultimate realm of God King casting top spiritual will secret techniques, there is only hope of eradicating a spiritual being. Push. With a single step, Luo Feng was already a great distance away, flying hundreds of times faster than when he had first entered the infinite space. After just a few steps, he had already reached the edge of Emperor Ming's dominion. "Your Majesty," Luo Feng greeted respectfully. With the protection of Emperor Ming, he was able to cultivate peacefully in the infinite space for his first 100 eras. A century's growth had given him the confidence to stand his ground in the infinite space. "Oh, Luo He," Emperor Ming's will enveloped Luo Feng, somewhat surprised. "Your spiritual will has grown significantly over this 100 eras and is not far from the ultimate realm of the God King. Thanks to your Majesty's benevolence, I have been able to cultivate peacefully in the infinite space and have made such progress," Luo Feng replied. For a normal cultivator, the growth of spiritual will is extremely slow or even stagnant, sometimes even regressing. Even with the Lai Yuan technique, Luo Feng spent most of his time using the Great Destruction Heart Refining technique to constantly hone his spiritual will. Normally, it would take tens of thousands of eras to achieve the growth he had now. He first encountered spiritual contamination in the infinite space, being contaminated over and over again, each time refining away all impurities with the Lai Yuan technique, constantly refined. After a century of such refining, Luo Feng's gains were naturally substantial. But the further it went, the less this method helped. The area granted to me by your Majesty originally contained 3 native creatures. Now, 2 of them have disappeared, and the last one awards very low reward points, Luo Feng said. "Oh, you must have killed them many times," Emperor Ming replied. "I have killed each of the 3 native creatures over 1,000 times, Luo Feng said. "Generally, after more than 1,000 times, it's indeed possible for the native creatures to completely disappear, typically being moved to some distant part of the infinite space," Emperor Ming explained. Luo Feng understood. Moved somewhere else. With the vastness of the infinite space, the likelihood of encountering those to disappeared native creatures again was very low. "I also gift a domain to the Imperial clansmen early in their cultivation, and after that, they need to fend for themselves," Emperor Ming said. "I also came to bid farewell to your Majesty," Luo Feng said. "I'm ready to set out and establish my own territory. If you can achieve the ultimate realm of God Kings will in the primal chaos realm, that would be quite impressive. The infinite space values this greatly and will grant rewards," Emperor Ming said. "I've painted some Calamity Beast diagrams in my spare time in the infinite space, so I'll give you one as a gift." As he spoke, a black and red scroll appeared out of thin air and flew towards Luo Feng. Even without unrolling it, Luo Feng could feel the powerful will contained within it. This is different from the common Calamity Beast diagrams. Luo Feng immediately understood that the Calamity Beast diagrams sold outside might have been painted by Emperor Ming in his early years. Luo Feng immediately received the scroll with respect. "You must have seen Shadow of the Catastrophe Beast, but the shadow is different from the painting of the beast," Emperor Ming said. "The painting is the image of the beast in the heart of the artist. Each artist has a different image in his heart." "Thank you, Your Majesty," Luo Feng said gratefully. As it turned out, his master, Emperor Chu, and Emperor Ming did not get along well, but even so, Emperor Ming took such good care of him, and Luo Feng was naturally grateful. Soon after, Emperor Ming withdrew his consciousness. Luo Feng respectfully performed a bow and flew off, beginning his solo venture in the infinite space.